What is going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? Welcome to RHC Reviews number 20. That's right, number 20. I've finally made it. I know I haven't put out a whole lot of reviews, but hey, you know, at least I finally made it to my 20th review with my new camcorder and all that. And you know what? Since it's my 20th, I thought, there's something special going on this year. What can it be? What could it be? It's Morphin Time! Ah! That's right, if you didn't know by now, this month today marks the 20th anniversary of the Power Rangers franchise, starting with none other than Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I thought, hey, review 20, it might as well. You mean, being a big Power Rangers fan, even though I will admit this right now, when the Power Rangers, first started in 1993, I was still a big TMNT fan, so I didn't get into Power Rangers right away until at least a year later, but these were the first figures I picked up, and I'm going to be reviewing all 6 of these, the 5-inch Automorphin figures, made in, I would say, early 1994 by Bandai of America. And like I said, I do have all 6 with me, and I'll give you a little story at the end of the video, kind of telling you about these figures and how I first got them, but I'm not going to waste too much of your guys' time. So let's get into the review of the 5-inch Automorphin figures from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Alright, here they are in all their glory, the original 6 from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. In the back we got Zach, Billy, and then Kimberly and Trini, and in the front, Tommy and Jason. And of course their respective colors. Zach is wearing black, Billy in blue, Kimberly in pink, Trini in yellow, Tommy in green, and Jason red. Of course, the irony with Zach and Trini, of course, their colors and their skin color. I know that probably was never intentional by Saban, and obviously they fixed that much later when Zach and Trini and Jason got replaced. But still, I've always thought that was funny. I mean, in a way. But doesn't matter, they still fit their roles pretty well. Of course, as you can see, these guys are all pretty much the same, other than their heads, both their morphed and unmorphed, their colors of their costumes, of course. I hope I don't get any negative comments. I'm just pointing out the obvious. And the coins on their chest, which you can't see Tommy's because it's covered by his dragon shield, and that's what separates Tommy from the rest of the Rangers. And of course their weapons, their main weapons. All his figures are pretty much the same. Same scale, same articulation, same action feature. So I'm not gonna waste too much time. Here's what y'all can see. It's Morphin Time! First with Tommy, because of how his morph works, his morph is the same as everybody else's. Let's take the shield off, because you cannot morph him until the shield is removed. So, in order, Megazord! Mastodon! Pterodactyl! That's my best girl impression. Triceratops! Billy's does not want to work too well. Triceratops! Yeah, that's why you buy figures off eBay, but they probably still work better than the ones I have originally. Saber-tooth tiger! Tyrannosaurus! So there you guys go, they're morphed, and of course with Tommy, got to put his shield back on, since that's what made the Green Ranger different than the rest of the Rangers, since he was originally an evil Ranger, being under Rita's spell, until eventually having the spell broken, and joining up with the team, and all their glory, of course, to make the team from 5 to 6, and then brief time back to 5, then back to 6. So there you guys go, right there with their helmets on. And if you want to demorph them, well, you gotta do this. Open them up, push the head back, and there you go. For when they have their helmets off, and then just remorph them. Now, as I mentioned, same articulation on all the Rangers, no head movement because of the Morphin action feature, but you do have arm movements. You got up and down, you can go back and forth, And of course, you do this, you see the screw. I've always kind of hated that. I just always thought that was bad. But, whatever. And they still kind of do it today with some of the figures. And then you got your movement at the elbow, which swivels. Then there's a hinge, and that's really all the articulation you have in the arms. No waist articulation, once again, because of the action feature. You got only back and forth movements with the legs. And then you only got this movement with the knee. You can't move forward with the knee, but you can move back. And sadly, and I'll mention this in the end of the video, with my Jason, my original one, because this is not my original, since like I mentioned, I bought these off eBay, and I have the original 6 that I owned in my toy box. My Jason, unfortunately, had an accident that involved his legs. But anyways, there's the Power Rangers themselves. Now, as I mentioned with Tommy's shield, which made Tommy special over the other Rangers when it came to that, it is removable. It's in 2 separate pieces. And if you take a look at the back, which by the way, I'm going to take a quick little zoom in on the date. Should focus in. Copyright 1993, Bandai, made in China. Which I thought he came out in 94. I mean, I guess because 93 is when Power Rangers had started, so. And I'm guessing the original 1993 copyright dates from the Jew Ranger figures, because just like with Power Rangers, you know, there's always got to be the Sentai counterpart. And the Sentai version would obviously be different, with the Yellow Ranger being male instead of female, but everybody else being male, you know, like they're supposed to be. And I'm not going to get into a long Jew Ranger Sentai discussion, since this is mostly about Power Rangers. But anyways, like I mentioned, in the back you got this little kind of tab here. That's for the back of the shield. And you can put the shield on any Ranger, whether it be Jason, who, more than any other Ranger besides Tommy, did wear the Dragon Shield. Since in the Sentai, the Red Ranger and Green Ranger were brothers. And spoiler alert, in the Sentai, the Green Ranger dies. While in the American version, because we don't do death with kids shows, with the exception of maybe one season where someone did die. I won't say much about that, but of course in the American series, Tommy goes away for a while before coming back, so Jason had to hold on to the Dragon coin for a while, which gave him the powers of the Dragon Dagger and the Dragon Shield. And it falls off easily. That's one thing I don't like about the shield. I don't know if my original shield that I used to have my Green Ranger figure ever did that, but which I said I don't have it for my Green Ranger, so fortunately I'm glad I have this one, but it doesn't want to stay on too well, and you can put on any Ranger. The only other Ranger that has one of the shield besides Jason was Zack, but that was only in our, you know, our versions, because they had to do the Jew 2 footage, as they call it, since all the Jew Ranger stock footage had ended, and they wanted to keep Power Rangers going before finally they had to do a lot more American footage. So you can put on Zack, but since the other Rangers never got a chance to wear it, you can make them wear it in this, you know, in this version. You know, you can put on Billy, which they did make a couple of 4-inch figures with Jason, Zack, and Billy, and Tommy all wearing the Dragon Shield. Of course, that's Tommy's shield, but still, you know, if you want to put on Billy, he can wear it. Or you can put on Trini. But Trini, it looks a little odd because she's yellow Ranger. Keep your guys' minds out of the gutter. But she's the Yellow Ranger. She can wear the shield. I mean, I guess it kind of works well on her. Take it off her. And then Kimberly, which I'm surprised that in the American version we didn't get much of. Maybe times where Kimberly got hurt, and maybe Tommy would tell her, you know, to take his shield to protect her. I mean, it would have worked, I mean, since they were a love interest. So there you go, and once again, it doesn't want to stay on too well. That's something you always got to be careful with if you're displaying your toys or if you're playing with them. And just take it off. Now, another thing you can do is when they demorph is you can put on them, but the only problem is with the girls, and I'll give you an example of Kimberly here, it will not fit on the back. Now you're wondering, wait, how does it fit on Tommy then? Well, with Tommy, his hair is molded so he can wear it on the back of his head. I mean, not very well, but better than Kimberly or Trini. Jason, Zack, or Billy can wear the shield in demorph mode, even though they wouldn't. Since Jason never wore the Dragon Shield very much when he was demorphed or when he was morphed. In fact, I can't remember a whole lot of times in the American series that he wore the Dragon Shield, other than a few times. But that's just an example of how the Dragon Shield can be worn by each Ranger. More likely, you're probably just display the shield mostly on Tommy or Jason, since they're the ones that really wore it, especially since it was Tommy's shield and all. Poor Kimberly, I'll pick her up. Alright. Alright, next we're getting into the weapons. First, let's get into their weapon that they use before they need their main weapons. Their power blasters, which they came with 6. Now you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, 6? Wasn't there only 5? Since Tommy, his holster was usually for his dragon dagger, yes. But since they all share the same parts, as you'll notice, Tommy's got full grain diamonds on his gloves and boots, despite the fact that in the show he had more like triangles and there was a gold, line around his gloves, and then also gold armbands. Of course, this is Bandai's way of making the figures all the same, other than their paint and the coins on their chests and their heads. But just having to share the same parts, so I might as well share the same weapon, the Blade Blaster, which only is in the blaster mode. I'm going to move Tommy over to the side, because I know if I try to put on his belt, then it'll end up falling out, or the shield will fall off. But anyways, you can store in the holsters right here, and this is usually the best way. Or you can hold it do like this, because obviously in the show the Blade Blaster needs to be closed up. Or you can have them use it, in their hands like this. Left or right, I would go for right, since I don't think they use it in their left very much. And I'm a right-handed person myself, so I would use my right. So I'll put that back in the pouch, and it's the same with the other 6 Rangers. And I do have the other Blade Blaster, so let's put that right there. So with the power of Ed and Magic, we've now got the Blade Blasters in each one of the Rangers' holsters. I thought I'd do that instead of having to show you guys, have me put the Blade Blasters in each pouch, but you get the general idea. Now, of course, their Blade Blasters are only maybe good against the putties, and maybe when they use them together, they're somewhat powerful, but their Blade Blasters are still not as powerful as their main weapons, so I'm going to bring them all out. Starting with the Power Axe, which belongs to Zach. And fit right here in his hand, which there's the peg, which also used for the Blade Blaster. And with Zach's axe, out of all the weapons, his weapon can be used 2 separate ways. His and Billy's, of course, I'll get to Billy's in a moment. You can do it like that, or you can do it like this, which is like a gun, which is also going to be used for their, final weapon formation. Personally, I always prefer is the axe, because that's what it was at first, and later on, you got the gun function. Then we have Kimberly's Power Bow, which there's no arrow, and of course, if there was, it'd get lost anyway. So it looks a little bit bad that she doesn't have an arrow for it, but because of the way the figures are, their articulation is not all that great. You can't pose them all that well. She wouldn't be able to shoot anyway, so stick in her hand like this. We'll put her right here in the back. Then we got Billy's Power Lance, which is in 2 separate pieces and can fit in his hands like this. Which he and Trini are the only ones who actually got 2 weapons instead of just 1 like everybody else. 3 if you count the Blade Blasters. And of course these aren't as long as they looked in the show, but obviously because of the final formation with their Mega Blaster, whatever it's called, Power Blaster, it has to kind of, already have them short, so, so it'll go on there. Now, like I mentioned with Zach's, Billy's weapon, you also got a second function, and Billy's is the only one who has a weapon that does this. You can combine his power lances together. They go on like that. Now, the only thing I don't like is you has to hold it here or here, which is kind of corny. He should hold in the middle, but the way these figures are made, he can't do that. So, obviously, you could just do it this way. And it comes apart, of course. That's one of the things I never really liked about this weapon. And I'm not the biggest fan of Billy. Don't get me wrong, I like each Ranger equally, even though I'm more into Jason and Tommy. And then I like Kimberly. Who didn't have a crush on Kimberly? It's either Kimberly or Trini. I mean, come on. All you guys out there like Power Rangers, don't tell me you didn't have a crush on them. And then, of course, there's probably girls who probably had a crush on Tommy and Zach and Billy. And Jason. But anyways, Billy can hold a weapon like that. I've heard when he holds it, the power lines separately, but still that's always a display option. Then we got Trini's power daggers, which, you know, don't combine like Billy's lances, but that's kind of a good thing, because then they don't look ugly when they go into the, you know, power blaster mode. I might be getting the name of that wrong. I apologize, guys. I need to go out and get Power Rangers on DVD. I've seen seasons 2 and 3 in stores. I missed getting season 1, and I don't really have the money to go out and buy a box set. But anyways, put the power dagger in her hand. And there you go. And finally, of the main 5 weapons, the Power Sword, belonging to Jason, which, that's what I've always liked about Jason. Jason, of course, my favorite. He wears color red, my favorite color. I've always liked the dinosaur, you know, the Tyrannosaurus. That's my favorite, you know, T-Rex my favorite dinosaur. It's like I'm a broken record repeating myself sometimes. And of course his name begins with a J like mine. And I can go on and on. But there you guys go with Jason. And then Tommy's weapon, the Dragon Dagger, or Dragon Flute as it's also called. And it sucks that they're a solid gray plastic, but hey, you know, these were in the 90s. I mean, Power Rangers, TMT, and other toy lines didn't have fully colored weapons until much later. Even though we're seeing, you know, solid colored weapons again with the TMT line and kind of Power Rangers, but at least they're not doing all gray weapons like they used to. So now they're all ready for battle. Of course, Tommy didn't really use his Dragon Dagger as much for battle as he did maybe his, you know, evil sword. I can't remember the name of it. Somebody will probably correct me in the description or in the comments, but whatever. So now the Rangers are ready to battle with their weapons. But if you remember right, as I had mentioned, they have a power blaster, because when their main weapons are not strong enough, they need to put them together. So going in order, with the power axe, the power bow. You will put the power bow right here on this peg on top of the axe. I'll put this down for a moment because I gotta get the other weapons. The power daggers. And there's some pegs down here on the bow. So we will put the daggers right here on this side. And another one on this side. And right now the power axe is not stable. It will be soon when we add the sword. Because you gotta make sure you have these ends out for when they get ready to blast their enemies with the power blaster. Then the lance, you can either, you know, do it 2 ways because of how this is set up, because of the way the lances gotta go together. This way I prefer because it looks better. If you do it like this, if I can get the dang lance on the bow. And of course you can do it this way too, but that just looks corny. But it looks corny anyway, but still I guess it works. If it worked for me. And finally, the power sword. So take it out of your hand real quick, Jason. And I just knocked over Tommy. Oops. My bad. Sorry to Angry Ranger fans, saw Tommy fall over. We'll just put you off this side, Tommy. Since normally in the past, Tommy would not be with them when they're using the power blaster. So you will see this part here will go on to this part of the axe here, along with the peg in the back, where normally it would go, you know, in Jason's hand, but it goes right here. And this will kind of stabilize the axe a little bit. And there's the power blaster. So when they get ready to blast the enemy, well, we got to put it in Jason's hand since he's the one that's got to hold it. Now, for an epic battle pose, since the all Rangers got to be together, from what I remember, I think Billy was over here. And I can't remember the exact arm motion, so please bear with me. If I got it wrong, I apologize. It's just from what I remember. He puts Zach over here, Kimberly over here, And Trini's back here, and of course they both put their arms on Jason. And there you guys go, and if I got it wrong I apologize, it's just from what I remember. And on a few occasions Tommy would join them and be in the background, so I'm going to put his shield back on because it fell off. That's one of the things, like I've mentioned, I don't like about the shield, that it falls off a lot. But as long as it don't break, you know, I'm fine with that. Tommy will be back here, you know, assisting them. Since his weapon mostly just used really just called the Megazord. And there you guys go. They're ready to battle. Arrgh! You can't stop Power Rangers. Go away, go. Ah! And of course, when they need to, they'll call their Megazord. Because the Power Blaster, as strong as it is, only very few times has it ever defeated an enemy. But still, it's awesome. And, you know, not a whole lot else to say. Alright guys, that was my review of these cool 5-inch Morphin figures from my Morphin Power Rangers. And, you know, these are so awesome, man. I'm glad that I've had my collection. These were not my originals. Sadly, the ones I have are in very bad shape. My Red Ranger Jason had his legs broken off by some random kid. Obviously advice to make sure that when you let our kids play with your toys that you watch them. And obviously I don't know who broke the legs off, sadly. And my Pink Ranger Kimberly also had a leg broken off. Tommy, this one's not my original. My original Tommy had his shield lost and a lot of chip paint. And same with my Zach, Trini, and Billy. So these are second-hand ones I bought off eBay. And the only problems are the fact that some idiot decided to smoke on me before they sold them to me. But, you know, that for whatever I paid for, you know, how much these go for a crap load of money, then obviously I was lucky to at least get these ones, and I could always find ones that are in better shape later on. But still, these are awesome. If you still have them in your collection in perfect condition, then you know, hey, you got very valuable toys. If you still have them, they're beat up, well, hey, you still have them. And if you don't, well, I suggest you get them. These are awesome. Doesn't matter if you just get one like Tommy here, or if you get just Jason, just Zach, or get all 6 of them. And keep in mind, there were other Automorphers. There was a second series that's rare, with Tommy as a White Ranger, and then you have Rocky, Evan, and Aisha taking over for Jason, Zach, and Trini after they left. And there was also a third series with the Automorphers in silver with Tommy's White Ranger, Rocky, Evan, and Aisha, and then also Kimberly and Billy. So if you find those, they are super hard to find and go for a crap load on eBay. And as for these figures, like I said, they're awesome. Yeah, they were corny when they came out. You don't have much articulation in them. Tommy's shield falls off. I mean, but honestly, you know, at least it don't get stuck, and he doesn't, you know, he won't break it. I mean, and hey, you know, perfect way to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, of the Power Rangers franchise, going on through now with Megaforce, and of course, Tommy himself will be returning in the, you know, epic Power Rangers battle for Super Megaforce debut next year. And there's always people going to say, well, Power Rangers was not original. It came from the Super Sentai. Well, of course, but you know what? As kids, we didn't know, and we didn't care. And even as an adult and knowing all the little dirty secrets about seasons 2 and 3, you know what? I honestly don't care. I still love Power Rangers. I mean, I like Super Sentai and all, but still, you know, I grew up with Power Rangers. One of my loves from childhood, along with TMNT, so I'm glad to have these. Glad to have, you know, everything I have in my collection that's Power Rangers, whether it's new or old. And hopefully these get re-released. I thought I saw something at Comic-Con that they were showing off all the older figures, so hey, maybe these figures might show up in retail again. Maybe, maybe not. But still, if you find these on eBay, you see these at a flea market, pick them up, make sure they're in good condition, make sure they have their weapons. And hey, just have fun, you know, play with them, doesn't matter. If you get them in a card, cool, but if you get them loose, then honestly, have some fun, you know, play with these toys, do the head flipping, put the shield on our Rangers. I mean, you could put on Kimberly or Trini or Billy, since they never wore it, or put on Zach or put on Jason again. I mean, just have what fun you want to have, make them battle your monsters, have them go against, you know, team up your Ninja Turtles, or have them team up with the newer Rangers, or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do with your figures. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this review. Let me know what you thought. Give me your guys' feedback about what you think of the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers, and how do you like it so far, and what you'd like to see in retail again, maybe when it comes to these figures, or maybe the 8 inches or anything. You know, I always appreciate your guys' feedback. And I hope to give you guys some more reviews soon. You know, more Power Ranger reviews, along with any more WWE reviews, or any other wrestling fair reviews, Team of T reviews, and, you know, if I ever get a chance to review other stuff like Transformers, maybe Marvel and DC stuff, anime, hell, if I get my hands on Super Sentai stuff, maybe I'll do some Super Sentai reviews. So as always, guys, I am Revolution Cowboy. Rock on, keep collecting, and in the words of Zordon, may the power protect you. Hooah!